right now. So, hello everyone. I'm Slim Atman, the event manager of Architect Hub Qatar, and I will be your host for today's Hub Talk. Welcome everyone, and thank you very much for joining us. Today we have a very unique topic, uh, which is blockchain, the new opportunity for creative professionals. Uh, to tell us about this subject, we are honored to have with us from Spain, architect Diego Carreño de Vicente, senior architect and IT entrepreneur. Diego is an IT entrepreneur and sustainability expert. His background includes 3 years in Qatar, where he worked as a senior architect and a project manager. After studying the opportunities that blockchain offers for architects and sustainability in 2019, he founded Cre4tive Data, a startup that designs and develops blockchain apps for creative professionals and institutions. Before we start, let me remind you that to keep your mics on mute throughout the presentation, use the chat to comment or share questions. After the presentation ends, we will invite you all to share your comments. The Hub Talk today will be recorded, and soon we will upload it on our channel on YouTube and Facebook. So I'm pleased to introduce architect Diego. Diego, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Slim, for your introduction. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Good evening. I am Diego Carreño from Cre4tive Data, and I'm going to talk about blockchain and the new opportunities for creative professionals that this technology is opening for us. Sorry, I'm going to go forward. Okay, the talk is divided in 3 main parts. I will give you a short introduction about the concept and history of blockchain technology and the cryptocurrencies. And specifically, we are going to stop in the non-fungible tokens and the smart contracts. That I believe this is the most important part for us, for the creatives. We will check some real-world applications, especially focusing in smart cities, energy consumption, and art trading and traceability. And for finishing, I'm going to show you our project, Cre4tive Data Solutions, and the things what we are doing and why we are doing this. So we're going to start already. But just one advice: this is not a talk for financial professional. This is an approach from the creative world. I am an architect, and my approach to blockchain, it is related because I found some lacks in our job, and I try to focus how to solve these problems a long time ago. And I'm talking about 2015. And since then I was working in these issues. And then blockchain came for like a solution for me. And that's when I started to create Cre4tive Data. So I am an architect from Spain since the 2000. I am expert in sustainability design. And I spent more than 15 years working with IT tools, because actually I founded also a digital magazine for design, among others. I also ran, like, as a principal, a design school in Spain. And actually also I work as a sustainability expert in Qatar from 2016 to 2019. And when I came back to Europe, I founded Cre4tive Data, like a startup I'm going to introduce to you. So introducing to blockchain technology and why it could be useful for creative, I need to tell you what is actually blockchain. Technically, blockchain is a distributed ledger technology. Honestly, it's not a technology itself, but it's a conjunction of a group of technologies. So a ledger is a statement that at the beginning was done by hand in a book. So there was a person who centralized this information, this accountability ledger, and this person should share it with different people. So any mistake or any problem or malfunction could be affected at many people involved. Later on, this system evolved, and now we are more close to this other model where we have central entities who manage information, and we can access to this information. Like in Qatar, you have the Ministry of Interior, and you have this Metrash application, so you can check the information, but actually you are not the owner of the information. Who manage this information is this central entity who has the access and gives you the rights for use the information or not. So what blockchain pretends is to change this model to a decentralized model. Here, there is a network where there is not a main point for the information. All the information is distributed for all the network, and all the people who is inside this network may have access to this information. And it's very important to understand this, because this is the paradigm that is changing from different centralized to decentralized. Actually, what is also important is to understand that the information, it is distributed in a secure way. All the information goes to blockchain network, gets encrypted, and is distributed through the network. So all the network should be aligned with this information. If you try to modify the information just in one part of the network, let's say I try to cheat in my computer, because it is not aligned with the rest of the network, the system won't accept it. So it somehow, the system itself automatizes the acceptation and the verifying of this information. So this way makes the information like a new record, and it's impossible to falsify. Each time this information, you can enrich it, but you cannot erase the past of it. So we can add new information, and this information adds like a block in this blockchain. That's why the name, and it's get automatized and verified by the system. Like I summarize, we're going from this model when we have a single person or a central entity who verify the information, to this other model where all the network needs to be aligned to confirm and to verify the information. And that makes this possible to, so we don't need to go inside the information, because the information, if it is accepted by the system, means that this is true. And if it is not true, it will not be accepted by the system. So let's go forward. When I talk about all these network and devices, we have to understand that there are different networks. Today, we have public blockchain networks that anyone can join. Any of you could you just need an IP internet connection, and also you need a computer, and you need to run certain programs, and then you can access to these public blockchain networks. And the most principal are Bitcoin and Ethereum. They are not the only ones, but those are the most famous. And also you have private and corporate blockchain networks. And here you cannot access, you have to be invited. Those are provided by companies like Linux created this hyperledger. So they just accept some application developers, and then you can join it. If you're not an application developer in Linux, you cannot join. And now in Europe, we have this try to mix both, because they want to keep this public access with the control of the private networks. And they're creating these new networks. They're mixed, let's say. EPSI and Alastria are the two mines in Europe projects now. Nothing is new. We are talking about, for us probably it's new because we are going to apply this in different fields that before we didn't. But actually the technology that we are going to use is quite old. The first network for information network is this Arpanet in 1967. That was a private network created by the State of Defense of the United States, Department of Defense. And this was a private network. And based on it, in 1971, quite soon later, it is basically the first open data network in Spain. And it was done for banks accounts, accountability. But today we are using the internet. Internet is the evolution from Arpanet. If we continue some time, there is a guy called Ralph Merkle who planted this Merkle tree. I'm talking about ending of the 70s, also a long time. And he created this system to encrypt the information. And if you have the end of the line and you have the right algorithm, you can find the beginning of the information. So this is the basic tool that later on in 91, Scott Stornetta, described what today we call blockchain. So with this technology, already from the 90s, we have this blockchain technology available. What happened is that there was not a big ban from blockchain till today. Well, actually, it was not the big ban until 2008, when Satoshi Nakamoto creates the Bitcoin. Actually, Satoshi Nakamoto is like Bansky. No one knows who is he. Not even we know if he's just one person, single person, or maybe he's a group of several people. But the truth is that in 2008, he wrote this paper, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, that is the basis of the Bitcoin. And in 2009, they released the first Bitcoin, and that now in almost 20 years, less than 12 years, is already 59,000 dollars each Bitcoin. So the concept is purely economy. At the beginning, the humanity used to barter one good in exchange of other good, and later on appears the concept of a coin. So we don't need to change a good by a good, but we change it a good by a coin who has a value related to a metal or mineral, and this later on we could exchange this coin again for other goods. With the time ongoing, then we have this concept of ledger and notes that appears with the banks, the central banks. So at the beginning, a ledger was the quantity of gold the bank had and give you a note that was based in this gold. But today, it's not anymore like this. A banknote just represent a trust. If you go with $1 note to a bank, they are not going to give you any gold. They are going to give you another dollar note. They're not going to exchange for any other thing. So in this process, these two main parts are endorsed by governments and central banks. So what the coin concept is doing is making a link in between the origin and the end of the chain. So you don't need the trust, you don't need a central bank or a government to keep this trust, because actually the system that is reliable in information will give you the right information, who is the owner of this Bitcoin. So if you accept to exchange this Bitcoin by a car, automatically the value of the Bitcoin becomes the value of a car. And if later you exchange the Bitcoin by house, the Bitcoin value is going to change into a house value. At the beginning, there is a lot of changes in the values of the Bitcoin because there is a few people, but each time more companies are joining the accepting Bitcoin. The last one was Tesla is accepting Bitcoin for payment of the cars. And actually also PayPal is also accepting Bitcoins like a paying currency. So that means that the Bitcoin value is going to be permanent on time. What is important to understand is that we can keep this trust because the information is inside the system, is linked in the system. So a little bit later, taking this idea, appears what we call Ethereum. It's a new currency. And what they do is not so important the currency itself, the coin of Ethereum, but the information it is linked to this coin. And in base this information, we can automatize smart contracts. Why? Because the system is going to verify the information without any need of any person. So a smart contract is that you have two parties and you have an agreement, and this information is put inside the system, and the system may run itself by itself. And if the system gives you the green light, let's say, they will give you a service and you will give it some payment in exchange. So somehow what is important in Ethereum is not the coin itself, but the information that it is linked to this coin. And this is what is going to work for us. So here we arrive to the non-fungible token problem. And this is so famous. We have to understand what is a token first. A token is just like a coin that will work inside an entity. So for example, if you're going to play Minecraft with the PS4, you're going to buy certain X quantity of tokens, let's say 10 tokens, and you can play 10 times. So the token is the value for the one play in this game. Outside of Minecraft, the token has no value. And actually it's just like a coin. You're paying for one game, and you are paying one token. So here we have a non-fungible token. The first one will be the fungible tokens that you buy and you exchange for that service. And here we have this Carrefour Club Pass. And actually, this is like a non-fungible token. All we have the same card everywhere, that there is a Carrefour. You can take this client's card. And actually, what is important here is not the plastic of this token. This token is only valuable for the Carrefour, but what is important here is information this card has. It has your identity, it has the amount of your last grocery, and it has the quantity of points you are earning each time you are spending X quantity of money. So actually also they have like a smart contract, like let's say if you arrive to 1,000 points, you're going to have some X discount in your next grocery. So in this way, this will be work like a smart contract. So actually this Carrefour card is like a non-fungible token that you don't expend it, you expend the information it has inside. So again, here we have a smart contract and we have some information, and this talks about the quantity of this information, because the points of the Carrefour are the same for me than for any one of you. So when you arrive to 1,000 points, they're going to give you some payment in exchange. But what about the quality of the information? And here is also, this is very important for us, for the creative people, that we care not only for the quantity of the information, but because the quality of the information. I broke this banknote, a $1 banknote, and this is autographed by the Beatles, because the people who signed it were the Beatles. Now the value of this dollar note is not anymore $1. It's much more valuable. Even if I will sign $1 note, it will not change the value of the dollar. But because the Beatles did, it changed a lot the value of this dollar. So this is the concept of why non-fungible tokens are so important for creative, because the quality of information we're going to put inside and it's going to keep on time is going to be very important. So we can see real world applications based in these concepts. And the first and more straight application are the supply chains. Why? Because actually in our world, in a smart city, we need to have supply chains for everything. So when you have a raw material and this raw material goes to a industry, and this industry this material has to be transported and has to be storage, and then you can trade with it, and then you can deliver, and then you put in a shopping, and then goes again to another place, and you work with it, and then arrive to the final client. All these steps, you can record it with blockchain, and you give a trace of the information. And the best part of this is that you don't need anyone to do this, because the machine will do for you. Like you have a GPS, so the track that is making this transport of the raw material has a GPS. So this could be tracking by itself. You don't need to be here, anyone to put this information, or maybe the weather, the temperature, any of this information could be tracked very easily. And from outside the system, anyone can check it. And you can be sure that this information is real, because it's in the system that is also blockchain inside. If it is not real, it will be rejected by the system. So the first one to apply this concept has been Walmart. Walmart is the biggest grocery store in the United States. And they had this problem with the fresh food, because this long chain could affect any of the fresh food they're going to sell. So they need to know, where is this fruit coming from? How long has it taken in the truck? In which condition has been taken or storage? How long they can take this fruit for selling? So this is always a problem. So they push all this supply chain to be in blockchain. And this is pulling all these companies to take this traceability on blockchain. But not only in fresh food, but in any place you need to guarantee the origin of certain good is also a good application for blockchain. In this case, this company, they trade with diamond. And for them, it's very important to certify the extract point of the diamond and the process for the diamond, are where are they selling these diamonds. So they are applying this. A second real world application is very common, is related with energy. We have this concept of energy community. Then you have several people who are producing sustainable energy, maybe with PVs or maybe a windmill or what, any other source. But some of this energy, they are spending part of that, and the rest they are pulling into the grid, energy grid for the community. But let's say during the night, they don't produce energy, but they take the energy from the energy grid. So the important here is you need to trace who is these people, how many energy, or how much energy, how many watts, how much energy are they producing, how much are they spending, or how much they are pulling into the grid. And this that sounds very like science fiction some time ago is real. This is a news I took from this week, and is in this month. Shell is investing $11 million just for developing. But this is quite common. You can find a lot of information about this kind of applications. Actually, the main application related with the smart city and climate change is related with clean power, smart transport system, sustainable production and consumption, sustainable land use, and smart cities and home management. But for Cre4tive, for example, authorship or the traceability of the authorship could be also a good issue, because, for example, you have an artist, or I trade with you with a piece of artwork, and you know me, and I know the artist, and you believe me, and you accept this piece of art. But then the chain goes, and later on you may lose this who was the real author, and that is quite common in the art trademark market. And with blockchain, it's quite easy to keep the traceability of the real authorship for no matter how long it will take, or no matter how many owners are exchanging this piece of artwork, piece of art. So that's also sound quite odd, but this is what happened this time or this last month with this Beeple work. He sold this NFTs piece of digital art. Okay, because the problem with traceability is not a problem only for the real or artworks that are real, but with digital that we have problems with copy paste, and it could be real complex. Now this piece of art is valuable it was sold in almost $70 million, and this is full of NFTs done by this artist. But actually, Damien Hirst also is investing in putting his pieces of art in an NFTs platform. In one case is digital art, in the other case is material art, let's say, and both are interested in this because it will keep the traceability of the authorship and all the qualities of the pieces of art. So now I'm going to explain you why I'm here and how I arrived to this part of this market and technology with the Cre4tive Data solutions. And I have to say, I have been involved many times with professional association in Spain, and we have a lot of troubles in Europe with the recognition of the authorship when you have a collective project. Many of us, we are architects, and maybe we are working 50 people in one project for 2 to 3 years. So how can you track the authorship when you have so many people coming in and out and keep the tracks on time? That could be a problem in an architectural office or in design office, but actually also it happens in video game projects. And anywhere you have more than 1 or 2 people working together in a creative area, you can have problems with the authorship traceability. Actually, in Spain also it's a problem because most of the registration are focused to civil liability. They just want, if the house breaks or fall down, they need someone to pay. So just you need a head of the team, and the rest of the people who is working in this project keep unknown. Or maybe other problem is like when we don't have a big industry. If you go to watch a movie, at the end of the movie, you have the end credits, and then maybe you have 20 minutes of people who has been working in this movie. Actually, in a video game industry, you have as many people as they work in a movie, but they don't have any kind of recognition. So that's why this is one of the main points pushed me to investigate about the blockchain. And actually, this gets more complicated because the copy paste, because the digital is good, is a good tool for us, but makes difficult to trace all the works that has been done. And actually, before the pandemic, one of the main concerns for the World Economic Forum is the digital ID and data veracity could be one of the principal global risks in the next future. So that's why from Cre4tive Data, the startup I founded, is that we believe the most valuable asset is the talent. For us, we have to invest in talent. So we want to apply blockchain to the talent and creative works. And this is the path we started. And we create and design it, this intellectual rights fingerprint project. But actually, basically, is to have a platform that will have three main areas: digital IDs management, project management, and blockchain management. And for each project, we assign users that may be the authors, maybe specific collaborators, maybe the owners of the project. And actually, all this information goes to blockchain, so we can keep the information right on time, no matter how long it will take. And actually, what is good also, that this information can check by third parties. And if you in the future, you have been working several years in an architecture office, and then you switch, and then someone wants to see your job, this person just needs to go into the platform to see your quality of the work without, it's like keeping your CV on live, you know. And actually, it also has some different good things, like the owners can share or can trespass or trade with their rights, because out of these systems, it's very difficult to share or to trade with the use rights because, well, you have to be sure that who is who and whatever. Like the system will do it by itself. It makes it very, very easy to exchange or to trade with the user rights. We cannot, the moral rights are permanent, but the use rights, you can trade with them. And another application we are developing is focusing on existing buildings. When you have an existing buildings, you have a lot of people involved because you have a community of users, the owners, could be one or several owners. And then you have certain kind of materials that the building was built with, and that makes the building to have some behaviors. And because the building has some water consume, electricity consume, or energy consume, depending of many factors. And then you have an initial project, but if it is existing building, maybe this project doesn't exist. And then you have a maintenance company who has been working in the building. And then maybe you have a renovation project because you need to renovate the building. And then you have commissioning people working after the renovation for the project. And then you have maybe the municipality who give you a grant to make this renovation, and they want to check if the money has been well spent and the behavior of the building before and after the renovation. Maybe you have a bank who give you a loan and they want to check if you are keeping in this building in a right way. Or maybe there is a future buyer who wants to buy you the house, but this person doesn't know you, doesn't know the building. So all these people may check all this data with this application that we are developing. Sorry, because I have just with a mobile application. And this is and why are we doing this? Actually, in Spain and in Europe in general, after the pandemic, they are expecting to put a lot of money for the renovation of all the cities. And we have like 8 million buildings that has to be renovated, and they want to spend to renovate 1 million in the next 10 years. And they want to spend like 7,000 million euros just in Spain. And for us, this could be a good tool to keep the traceability of all these investments and to keep that transparency to all those investments. So what we have done in these 2 years of investigation and development, we designed this intellectual fingerprint project. Actually, we designed it and we are in the research of fundings. So we will be happy if anyone of you would like to participate. That would be good. we are developing this digital building passport that will release this month. We are going to already setting up the first version for it. And we are also developing this art platform, again, for applying the traceability for authorship in the art market. And all we do this with an engine, and blockchain engine. We spend time and money to develop an application and engine that will support the rest. And what's the problem with blockchain now? Because this big bang of news and big bands of everyone wants to have a blockchain, but actually you cannot find easily technicians that will develop this for you. So we develop an engine, and what we're going to do is to also commercialize it. So maybe any of you have this need of using blockchain, and we can adapt this like an engine for your own applications. So in this time, we work together, engineers, architects, business developers, and we have also a technical partner. This is the summary of 2 years, well, 5 years work, and that was all. I hope you could understand the concept for blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And I don't know, that was all from my side so far, and I expect your questions or your comments.
Yes, thank you, Diego. Thank you for the presentation and for the rich information that you just gave it to us. I will open the floor. If anyone wants to ask, he can share his question on the chat. Otherwise, there is some question on the chat. We will go through it. We have.
Okay.
PayPal.
There is a question. The first question I have seen in the talk is who is the main agent in this development, or the key people? I have to advise something. Blockchain is a tool. So from my side of point, again, I am not financial. I am not doing blockchain for cryptocurrencies. I am using the capacities of blockchain for a problem we have and we can solve with it. So I believe the key person is, if you have a project, should be the project manager. I mean, why are you doing this? Because technology helps you, but it's not a solution itself. I mean, if I will put an NFT of one drawing of mine, I will not sell it for 70 million like people does, because I am not an artist that I'm working. So this is maybe a help. It's like when internet started and all the people wanted to have a web page. You need a web page for your business, but if you are not doing a good job with your business, probably you are not going to sell more or less because of a web page. So I think this is also an example. No one of us goes to Carrefour because we have this card with points. We go because we like the service, we like the food, we like the prices. Those are the main keys for this. Technically, for the project, it's difficult, and at least in Europe, in Spain, it's difficult to find good technicians that may develop this, the computer programmers. And you have to research a lot to get in a good price, because actually there is a huge demand for these people. So it's difficult to have them. Let's see more questions.
There is a question from Umayma. She's telling, how does your startup work with architecture offices and projects?
Actually, sorry.
Yes.
The main idea is to work with institutions. Okay, this problem we find is related with many architects in Spain and in Europe. So for us, it's important to achieve the wider number of people or professionals involved. We cannot go door by door calling all the architects. So for us, it's most important to go with institutions that will have a big representation. Actually, we have like you have the hub, architects hub there. Here we have official professional associations. We start to be in contact with them, but we are just starting. So this is a startup. Actually, we will release our first project this month, and we are quite excited with it. But maybe we won't get the results we are expecting.
Yes,
The type of institution, yes, will be representative bodies is what we are looking for, at least in Spain. We are open, but because we are limited in our resources, so we have to find the best ways to squeeze our resources. This is the main idea.
Yes. Does your service of tool integrate with BIM?
Actually, it could be integrated with everything. What's the problem here? Does it have sense to you? Because I work with BIM like an architect. And BIM, you develop a lot of archives, very huge weight and very big different files. Does it have sense to put a big file in a blockchain machine? Maybe the last one, the last version. Maybe if you are going to sign the contract and you can say, okay, I signed this contract with you, and this is my last version of the project, here goes, and then you can fix this version. But all we know how does architectural works goes, that you need to implement many changes, and when you never finish. So to me, it's not important to have a specific file, but it's more about to have a clear picture that you want to fix some moment, and then you have to move to for the future and fix another picture. So you have to be, okay, everything has a cost in life, and blockchain has a cost in energy. So the bigger is the file, the bigger is going to be the cost. So you have also to be thinking, what do you want to fix in for the future? The good thing for us is those machines are thought to work in markets, in the stock markets and for financing. So those machines are working in regularly 24 hours, 7 days a week. But we don't need this. For us, we just need to fix one picture in that moment, and we just need to use this maybe 1 hour. So for us, will be less costly than for financial. But you have to think, why do you need it? If you need to certificate, maybe it's just to think, I want to certificate this exactly document, not a chain of big documents that at the end you don't have a clear picture of it. So let me check to the first. I don't want to miss the questions.
Yes, there is some question from Tariq Abu Salah. He's telling, is there any experience for architectural offices to deal with clients in crypto instead of money?
Actually, not yet, but probably it will be soon. If PayPal has, actually, what happened to me is I had to outsource the blockchain match. I had to outsource some works for this blockchain machine, and they were asking me to pay, instead to pay in euros, they preferred me to pay in blockchain, in Bitcoin, sorry. So it is not, at the end, a cryptocurrency is an agreement between two parties. I prefer to pay in euros because I have euros in the bank and I am used to paying in euros. But if I arrive to an agreement to pay you with Bitcoins, it's the same. Actually, with an euro, the trust is given by the Bank of Europe that is producing this euro. And with the Bitcoin, the trust became from the system, from the electronic system, blockchain system. So then it's an agreement. So I'm sure it will become. I had not yet the experience, but probably it will become very soon, because each time, daily, there are more companies that they are trying to do this. Does it have sense? For example, it has sense if you have to pay in different countries. Fees for banks are very high. So if you have to pay too many fees for different banks, it's easier to pay with a cryptocurrency, because you just jump all the chains of intermediary in the middle, the banks who are in the middle. So you can pay to the beginning of the chain, and you are saving a lot of commissions and fees. For that will have sense. But if you are going to pay a guy in your office, I don't think has so much sense in that point.
Yes. We have also Anna Caso, which is asking, where are the limits of the blockchain? Anna Caso is asking, where are the limits of the blockchain system?
Okay, yes. so far it's on limit. Actually, we don't know the size of the network of blockchain. And if she's asking about the value, it will achieve the value all the people would like to, in the sense that blockchain Bitcoin is started very cheap, and now it's huge amount of operations. It has a lot of value. Where is the limit of blockchain? Depending of then it's always balancing the resources and the products. What do you want to gain? Is it going to give you any good thing? Or then I know many people tell me that you should not talk about blockchain because blockchain sometimes gives you the perception that it's too complicated. The people is not familiar. Looks like something strange for you, and it sounds like it's going to be more expensive and more complicated. And I know some people who's working in energy companies who doesn't like the blockchain system because it is like you have to do an audit all the time. And the people doesn't like to be in an audit all the time. Gives you a lot of transparency, but make the process a little bit more complex. So then you have to balance. Is it good for me or for my client or for who is good? Maybe it's not good for anyone. So better not to use blockchain. But if it is good for your client, it's a good point for starting. And if it is good for your client, you have to do, okay, I should do this also good for myself. So that align those two principles, and then you should use blockchain. And the physical limits, I don't know it. Actually, it's exponential because most institutions are going to blockchain. Like in Europe, there are big projects of developing networks. Once they will state it, most of the service will go to blockchain, like a lot of consumption uses, a lot of healthy system uses they're looking for. Like now you hear that in Europe, they want to implement this health or vaccine passport, and it is based in blockchain because they have to manage the identity of the people and to manage the certification of the vaccine, for example. And that is very reliable in blockchain.
So Sebastian Aboud is asking, if you have an idea and a project, what will be the next step?
Like actually is to develop a blockchain project is the same that to develop a project. So you have to check to taste if your idea is already implemented. If it is not implemented, why it's not implemented, because maybe there is no need. If you have this need or you detected this need in the society and it's not implemented, maybe you are the first one. So you may be happy and to run, or maybe it's because it's not, it doesn't give you any profit. So you have to balance all these things and to start to, and it's more or less what we do. I had this idea. I knew the market previously. I knew why, because I was working in this professional body. I knew the limits of the recognition, the intellectual property rights recognition in Europe. And that's why I know this market and I know this gap. So I try to focus in here. So it depends at the end of your knowledge of the market. So you have to just think not about blockchain project, but just because it's a project, you have to think in the best solution for it. And maybe blockchain is not a good solution for your project. Konstantinos has asked, in the case of Beeples, he's already famous. Yes, I believe that. NFTs or certification is not going to give you anything that you don't have previously. It is like we ask a certification because I am an architect and I need to be an architect to develop a project. So I will go to the professional office and they will give me a certification and I am an architect. Doesn't make my job better or worse. It's just a certification. But maybe the certification in certain cases give you more guarantees or more transparency to the client and you sell better. That's the difference when it could be a good thing.
Yes.
Actually,
we have some new question also in the chat.
No, Constantine is also asking, sorry, I am interrupting anyone?
No.
Constantine is also talking about $400. Yeah, because there is no many offers. That's why we want to develop our platform. It will for sure not $400 just to join. Because for me, okay, if I go into Spain to certificate my job in the professional body, that will cost me like 200. Okay, if I can pay 50 euros, I would prefer to buy 50 euros, and I think we can do by less than 50 euros. We expect to do this job of validating the jobs much more cheaper than regular and the problem is that there are not many offers. That's why the price is high, and that's why we want to develop this platform soon.
Yes. Sebastian is asking, is it possible decentralized office and the global network?
For sure, like we are doing now. I am in Spain, you are in Doha, other people is in different places. And then you have to coordinate everything. I mean, again, blockchain could be a part of a set of tools, okay? So it's not going to solve you anything that you are not solving by yourself. I believe, for example, decentralized office is better this Zoom application. And then we have some trust because you see my face, I see your face, and we can agree also, and we don't need a blockchain agreement or a smart contract. But if you don't see the other person and it's everything decentralized, not like we are here, but we have 10,000 people behind the screen, maybe yes, it's useful to have a smart contract that will automate this. Like Carrefour card. How many clients do has Carrefour does have? Many, many. So they are interested in a system very easy. They take the car and they just beep, 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 go fast. So you have to think in why do you need this tool and if it is going to be good for you.
Yes. There is a question from Bharat Magadi saying in the project that you are implementing the blockchain, is it purely a project management application or it's used for design process also?
Okay, I believe there is many applications. Maybe if we focus in the building project, for example, the users, they are not project managers. They need to know the reality of the building they own. For them, it's important. It's like you have a car and you take the car to the mechanics and they will check it and they will give you a report how is the state of your car. So the same is with the building. You need to know the building you own just to give the right management of the building. But actually, the municipality is not a project manager. They want to check if the money that they give you for the renovation is going well done, well spent. And then anyone who is involved in the project, could be the head, could be the middle, or could be just this one provider, could be interested because they need the information. They need to rely on the information you give to them. For example, the service provider for the energy, they know if the readings of the metering is right or not. So at the end, they can do this with a smart metering, but maybe they can check that there is one building that has a lot of much more consume than other building. So they would like to know why this building has a bigger consume than the other one. Maybe it's a problem of the system, or maybe it's because the building has a different behavior, or maybe the people who's in the building is in a different way. So all this information should be accessible in a clear way. And we have a problem here because should be transparent and accessible, but actually you have to keep the privacy. And that's why those systems works very well, because they have their already developed way to keep your privacy, your data privacy, but actually in the same way, they give the information about the use or the behavior that you are doing with certain systems. Okay, some guys, Darcy Farco is asking in Spanish if I may recommend any platform to do NFTs for art. I will ask this person to wait for mine or for ours. Actually, if he wants to do now, probably the best way is to research in internet. But I mean, if the prices are 400, it's quite crazy. I will not do that unless you are Damien Hirst. And then again, if you are a student and you want to keep the track of your job, you cannot spend much money. So you should do it in an easy and cheap way. So we expect to develop a platform next month. So maybe we will have good news from that point of view. But we are in the research of also the funding. So then it's also we are in a balance of timing and resources. I would like to give you a more accurate answer.
Yes, Umayma also is asking, she's curious about the invitation she keep receiving about joining new application like P and B and P. And what's this application?
Sorry, can you repeat the increase of competition and get to join apps like B and P?
Yes.
Proprietary. Actually, our applications are under development. So when we will finish, we will launch them. But until then, I don't know the same application even, because you know what happened here? Some platforms who were focused in intellectual property before blockchain, they take blockchain to do the same job they were doing, but they are not implementing new versions or new applications that are diverted from that. And is why we are doing this job. But I am just developing our platform because we are convinced of it. But it's not I am using other platforms, so I cannot give you a good recommendation from that point. And I didn't have the experience yet. And I probably see some people is using already those. So maybe they can also give their feedback, and maybe we can enrich the conversation.
Yes, I think Konstantinos is using, sending some links.
Yeah. So maybe.
Thank you, Konstantinos.
But again, I will be careful with the NFTs. If you are doing a job that will help to you, it's perfect. But maybe if I put my drawings in NFTs, I won't sell anything again, because I am not selling regularly pictures, you know. We should invite Konstantinos to talk. Yeah.
Yes.
To open the micro. I don't know if everything has been clear from the concept of blockchain and Bitcoins. For me, it has been a little bit difficult at the beginning when I started to research for it, because everything was focusing in financing world. And because blockchain were existing before Bitcoin, but it's not that the Bitcoin big bang, nobody knows anything about this. So, well, so this is ongoing war. So probably in 1 month, many of these things have changed, and in 2 months, you have new applications. Yeah, Fungible, as I told you, is the token for the video game. If you could go, okay, I know you don't have casinos in Qatar, but if you go into a casino, you have to buy some chips at the entrance with money. You pay euros, and they give you some chips, and you play and gambling with these chips. And at the end, you take these chips and you exchange again for euros. And if you have been lucky, maybe you have more euros than at the beginning, and maybe you have less euros at most probably you have less euros than at the beginning. So those chips are fungible tokens. You're going to take this chip and you're going to spend. Like you go into the video game and you buy 10 tokens, and those are fungibles because you need to fungible those. And the non-fungibles is the one who the important thing is the information it gets attached. You're not going to exchange the token by itself, by the information it has. Yeah. It's like I told you, the Carrefour client's card, you don't pay with that. You don't give this card in exchange of any good, but the points that it's inside maybe give you some discount, you know? So that's the same concept for non-fungible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm happy if there is no any questions, that means that everyone has everything clear.
I think yes.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not sure about the SPAC acronyms. So again, if this Bharat Magadi can reformulate the question, please. Oh, thanks, anyone. You have. Okay.
There is no more question.
Yeah, actually, SPAC is a financial meaning. What we are doing, actually, we research for our own fundings, and we just get enough fundings to develop the first application, the blockchain engine and the building application. But we are happy to hear any solution, or probably if anyone is interested, we will accept funding. Actually, we are applying to different calls for grants in Europe because there is a big number of next generation fundings planned. And we introduced this, we applied several of them, and we are in the expecting to achieve one of these grants. Sebastian is so finishing the question. We are open to any finance funding proposition, seriously, but we have enough funding to start with this building application. And Sebastian, if you want to introduce to blockchain. Good. I start by, first of all, I start to understand if blockchain was good to solve my problem. If you don't have a problem, maybe you don't need blockchain. If you have a problem, check if blockchain may help you. And if it does, maybe try to apply or to check the best way. But to do this, to know if blockchain may help you, you have to read and to understand these concepts. At the end, if you see, you hear a lot of cryptocurrencies, and there are many. I mean, I just talk about two, Bitcoin and Ethereum, but there are many of them. Each one of them has its own specific characteristic, and maybe one of these specific cryptocurrencies have something that will help in to solve your problem, and you have to research for that. And the problem is that each year you have a new version and a new application. Now you have a second version of Ethereum. You have a blockchain also is evolving, and there are many cryptocurrencies that they are evolving. So you have to be more or less reading and to be forming all the time, informing. Okay. Yeah, for example, Sebastian is talking about if we can solve intermediary problems. That would be one application, very easy. And actually, you have some examples they are using in some examples I have seen applications in London. Actually, there is a problem with the land, because in Europe or maybe in Qatar, you have some good administration and everyone has cleared the land areas and the land's properties. But let's think in Africa or in a country who is in war. There is a lot of trouble with land, so blockchain is a perfect application to keep traceability for land rights. And yes, that could help. Can give you some good thing. If we applicate blockchain, what could be good? That if you are from a different country and you cannot see the plot that you want to buy, it's probably better to do by blockchain because you rely on the system. And if you don't know anyone in the country you want to buy a plot, then it's a problem. But if you're in a country and you can see to watch the plot by yourself, and you can check the owner of the plot, maybe I don't need blockchain. So again, you should balance in which cases it's good to have blockchain for in case of land and real estate, and maybe you don't need it because you have a good, if you have a real estate good industry, maybe you don't need to implement blockchain because make things more complicated. But if you are working from outside the country and maybe you don't have a good real estate industry in the country you want to invest, maybe it could be a good thing to have a blockchain system. Okay.
Yes, I think we are coming to the end of our session. You have something to add, Diego, or shall we close?
To me, it's perfect. Anyone who wants, there is a last MIMA question. How can I assess if we need blockchain or not? That should be your knowledge of the market. I mean, the good thing about blockchain is that digital assets that maybe somehow non-tangible, like the value of an artist, the value of IP is not tangible. You can, I mean, for us, it's important for creators to know this project is part of us and part of our job. This is very important, but for the owner, maybe it's not important. But because we can use blockchain to transform this, to make this thing that really at the beginning has not a clear value, we can use blockchain to give it an exact value of it. because at the end it's a agreement between parties, and because you are asking my job for my job, okay, I'm going to give my client my job, but I'm going to give my client my job with this characteristic, and I can recognize it no matter the time or no matter where I am. So, but should be your knowledge of the market. Anyway, from my side, I think I answered everything, and I think we already have done this 1 hour talk. You have my mail. If anyone wants to contact me, it will be a pleasure to answer. And actually, you will have my presentation through. Sorry, Slim. I will forward Slim my presentation, and you can share it with it, because he's going to share because I am working in IP, just to point that you will have the IP rights in the last slide. So just for keeping it on track. Okay. Anyway, has been a pleasure from my side. I hope you have learned any of my knowledge, and hope to see you again and to keep on touch.
Thank you. Thank you, Diego. Thanks everyone for being us today. I want to invite you all to join us tomorrow for a great talk with George Gaetan about the hybrid space lighting. Tomorrow it will be our last talk for April. I want to wish everyone a happy Ramadan. Ramadan Kareem for everyone, and stay safe.
Okay.
And hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A Ramadan for everyone.
Thank you.
Ciao. Yeah.